What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin today at the request of Mr. Ivan Ye. And I have no shame talking about it today, man. I know I see some crypto analysts out there. They make bold predictions. They're proven wrong the next day. You don't see them make videos for a few days or a week, right? They hang their heads in shame. They bury their head in the sand. I'm here fearless, man. I'm here shameless. I don't care that my video from yesterday did not age well. I forget what your name is, man, but you even said that my video didn't age well, and I had a laugh about it because no, it didn't. Yesterday I made a video, guys, talking about how it is not a good time to invest in Bitcoin, and I think that point stands all the more true after yesterday's pump. And you guys, we have every reason to be excited, right? Every person who's excited that the price pumped, I get it. We're at new yearly highs that we haven't seen in years, like multiple years, right? It's very exciting. We only pumped less than 7% from an open to closing basis, okay? We've seen Bitcoin pump over 20% some days, right? This is exciting, don't get me wrong, it definitely is. But people are going crazy right now, getting very euphoric for something that's like not really anything for what Bitcoin can do, okay? And you can say that I'm belittling it, downplaying it, whatever, but look at the volume. Volume's lower, right? We have less volume on the way up. That's not a good combination to have there, right? You want to see volume increase as you're moving higher, not decrease. You don't want to be in the position you are now. Yes, the day can close green. We can get multiple days and still get into the overbought zone. But if you reject here, this is not a good look. It's not been friendly anytime it's happened. Let's see what's happened actually. Anytime that this has happened here. So rejected the overbought zone here, and we went on from a high to a low, a 7% drop. Not that big of a deal, right? Just like 7% here, not that big of a deal. But still, we had a pretty, sizable drop for the range that we were in. Rejected right off the overbought zone here, right off it, and hey, look at that. Pumped up, had a fake out. Whoa, a fake out from top to bottom. Over time, we dropped 20%. A little bit of a bigger deal, okay? Direct rejection off of it here. The next day we pumped up from that high to the next low. We dropped 22.5%. We can go back and see, here kind of rejected the overbought zone, right? In that area, top to bottom, 11.5%. Here, a little bit of a rejection, You continued to go up one more time, another fakey poo, and then from top to bottom, you dropped 27%. That was actually our cycle lows, right? You can go back and test this anytime. Anytime you reject the overbought zone like that, it's not kind. It really isn't kind. So what you need to do, if you want to prove me wrong, you really want to rub it in my face, you want me to hang my head in shame, which I never will do. I don't care if I'm wrong, man. I will be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. It's the name of the game. Nobody's right 100% of the time. But if this day closes red, it puts the bulls in a very precarious situation. It's not this kind of situation right here with the overbought zone rejecting just like that. It's normally like 90% or more of the time it is not kind to price. It really isn't. And where we are right now, with price moving up, breaking out, if it moves down like this, we could have a fake out. If the ETF news comes out tomorrow, whether it's approved or denied, we're going to get a sell the news event, which also has not been historically good for Bitcoin, whether it's immediate or within the short term nonetheless. And I think it would be an immediate drop, but I do expect that we're going to see a rejection of the ETFs. I think all these people who are seeing this day as a day that signals that the ETFs are going to get approved, you check out the news, the media, everybody's talking as if the ETFs have already been approved. We have no clarification. We literally have no clarification, and the SEC even said they have a FOMO warning, right? And everybody's getting all jacked on that, but it's like, hey, like maybe they're telling you that because they're like, hey, we are going to reject these ETFs. Don't get excited. Like that literally might be what they're saying. And then they can cover their ass and say, we weren't playing with the market. We weren't manipulating anything or psyching people out. We were trying to warn them, and they still bought anyways. Like this just shows how irresponsible crypto investing is, further promoting their reasons for denying the ETF, or ETFs, whatever. Maybe that's an incorrect narrative, whatever. But nonetheless, what I'm trying to say is I am not phased. I'm really not phased. Everything I was saying yesterday stands still, and if anything, it's more firm today. It's not a good time to invest in crypto. It's not a good time to invest in Bitcoin. If we look at this here, from the relative high to low that we had, we're actually right at the 1272. In fact, on a more bearish note, we couldn't even touch it. Couldn't even touch it. The day is still young. There's 18 hours and 40 minutes left. Let's see how the day ends. So far, there's more of a wick to the downside, so you are recovering a little bit. There is potential for this thing to continue upwards. We could go, I mean, we could make a run, man, all the way up to 50K. That would kind of fit with the expectations that a lot of people, a lot of the bulls have. That doesn't really fit with any expectations of mine, but maybe we do. However high up we go, I think that we're going to have a more dramatic drop to the downside. And in fact, let's see, from the 1618, if we were to drop down to that 36K level that I'm looking for, you know, that it's still not quite a 30% drop. But what's nice about this little pump is I was talking about Bitcoin doing normally like a 30 to a 40% drop in bull cycles. So the fact that we're up here, that just gives more validity to that idea, you know, instead of us like going all the way down to 28K to 30K like a lot of people are looking for, we might go a little bit above that. Maybe we do go a little bit below 36K like I was looking for. And that would make sense. And let me show you why it makes sense. Because 36K is where the 382 is, right? Right, it was where the 382 was. It was actually, if it was back here, that's where it was. But it's very common to go a little bit below the 382. You find support on the 382, but you can wick below it. Oops, that I don't. You don't go backwards in time. You wick below it, same day, same week, whatever. You come back up and you close above it. That's still finding support on it, right? So I do think that going below 36K is completely possible. I don't know if we're going to go below too much lower than 34K. If we take this fib now and adjust it for the high that we have, actually, this moves to 37K and then 34K there. So I really wouldn't expect that we go below 34K. It is possible. There is a solid chance because we do have the 61869 area. The green line, the 123 down here is also down there. But I think a lot of bears and people who flip bearish after we move down, I think a lot of people are going to look for this area. And generally speaking, after a strong move, in my experience, it's not a 100% guarantee, but in my experience, you tend to find support on the 382. And again, finding support on the 382 can look like a wick below, and then you come back up and you close above it. So it won't be directly at 37K, but more likely somewhere in between the 0.5, which is at 34.3K, and 37K. That's where I'm expecting us to go. And I really have nothing else to say, man. There's nothing. I don't think, you know, this weekly RSI is very strong. Okay, we can talk about this actually. The weekly RSI is very strong. Maybe there's bearish divergence, maybe there's not, right? There's a high here, there's a lower high here, there's a high here, there's a higher high there, but also there's a high here, right? And that high there, you're higher than that high, you have a higher high, maybe there's not bearish divergence. However you want to define it, to me it kind of looks like bearish divergence, but there's an argument to be made that there's not as well. Okay, that's okay. If you go back in history and you look at Bitcoin, on average, being in the overbought zone for 11 weeks, that's kind of like the average range. 8 to 11 weeks is like the average amount of time that we stay in the overbought zone before coming out of it. Okay, there have been two times where we did more than that. We actually hit 18 weeks in the overbought zone nonstop before coming out of it. Both of those times were after the halving, post-halving. Both of those times were completely different looking price action than we have now. I mean, it's starting to look a little bit different, but like it was during this, right? This was one of those 18-week times. This is on Coinbase, so I don't have the other one. Let's see. Go to the index, the all-time history index. And yes, I am talking a bit quieter. I've got people sleeping in the other room, or not sleeping. Man, something's wrong with my internet, man. This 5G isn't all that it's cut out to be. You can attribute my crazy predictions for the ETF to the 5G getting to my brain, man. And then, so this was the one time that we had 18 weeks before. Okay, here we go. There we go. I was like, where's the other? And then I think the other time was here, yes. Right here, right? Very, very early days. Look at the price action, completely different than what we have now. It was also after the halving, right? And then the last time that we had 18 weeks in the overbought zone, look at the price action, right? It was a lot more extreme to the upside. This is kind of laggard in comparison, but also back to the main point, after the halving, before the halving. And I do expect, you know, compared to any other of the other times that we've seen price in the overbought zone before the halving happened, in the beginnings of the bull markets, this 11 weeks of being in the overbought zone is pretty average for like what we've seen, right? And it could be, this week is still young. We have 5 days and 19 hours left in this week. We could absolutely, we're only up 6.2%, man. Bitcoin can turn this week red. It can turn this week red more than 6% to the downside, right? It can be greater in value to the downside than it is to the upside right now, and this could take us out of the overbought zone. So anyways, I don't know if I have anything else to say, man. I'm very much not shaken out of my bearish calls. I am not short on Bitcoin. I'm short like in my opinion, but I very much don't recommend that anybody margin trades, right? Any person who was like me and convinced, very convinced that Bitcoin was going to go down, they're like, I'm going to take out a 20x leverage short because it's definitely going to go down. Well, hey, you got liquidated, man. You got liquidated in one day. You lost everything. So don't go short. Don't go long. That's not. And if you want to go short, here's my 2 cents. If you really, I'm not going short. Never in a bull market would I go short, and I really don't do margin trades at all. First off, very small amounts of money, like 1 to 5% of your total portfolio. 5% is pushing it, man. It really is. And you should never do more than a 5x leverage, ever. If you're successful using higher amounts and using higher leverage, and you're not new, you've been doing this for a while, and you've proven successful results, do you, but my honest opinion, crypto romanticizes all these big accounts. They romanticize the idea of high leverage. Stay away from it. There's no need for more than 5x leverage. There's really, on something like this, maybe do a 2x leverage, but again, with a very small amount of money. But I would just stay away from shorting, stay away from longing, period. I feel very bad for every person who went long yesterday. It's not going to be fun, but time will tell. Time will tell. This is not a good look. There's still 18 hours, almost 19 hours, right? 18 and a half hours left in the day. If the day closes green, we'll be in the overbought zone, but we've had these kind of rejections with needling into the overbought zone before, so I'm still not convinced. I'm very much in the belief that Bitcoin is going to see a tremendous break to the downside that will take us below 37K, somewhere between 37 and 34K in a very, 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 very short amount of time. And I think it's going to happen either today or tomorrow. And that's all I got for you guys. So if you like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all for the comments. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, that's okay. It's okay to have different opinions. Nobody's going to be right 100% of the time. I certainly am not. I will be wrong again. I've been wrong before. I will be right again. I've been right before. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about mitigating the risk that you have when you are wrong and knowing how to be wrong. So if you don't know how to be wrong, that's when you're going to get wrecked. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, more or less. It's not about that. It's about knowing how to be wrong, and then also knowing how to be right to take profits and capitalize on the gains. So many people forget how to take profits, man, and that's why there's this saying, this classic saying that I'll leave you with. Anybody can make profits, but only the pros take profits. Take care. Bye-bye.